Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, and today I would like to share with you this little guide on how I customized my Wolf Technology 1/100 scale model kit with a few LEDs. This is not the first custom LED mod I've done to my kits, and also not the first guide style video that I've made on this topic, but this is the first time I did my best to try and film the entire customization process up close. So, Wolf Technology Wolf model, or how I like to call it, Barbatos Lupus Flex. There will be dedicated review and build time-lapse videos for this kit on the channel soon, but for now, all I wanted to say about this kit is that it's a pretty darn cool kit. The build process is good and there is plenty of room for activities on the inside. And speaking of the inside, this kit has quite a few light bluish effect parts scattered around the other armor. Unfortunately, those don't have any silver backend behind them, so once assembled, they look quite dull. And so to spice them up, I figured why not wire up some LEDs. If you would like to do the same mod for this kit or any other model kit for that matter, you will need the following tools, and these are the ones that I used for this particular mod. These 0603 green LEDs with a single 100 ohm resistor, as the USB-A power is 5 volts, while these LEDs need 3 volts. So if you run them directly off of the USB, they'll simply burn out. Then I'm using these quick connects for easy access. Then I also have some 3mm spiral cable wrap and some generic wire for longer runs, and these USB-A to 2-pin connectors for the power supply side. I'm also using this super cheap Hakko soldering iron and some lead-free solder, but if you got the cash, I would recommend going for a slightly better soldering iron option with controls like this one. Links to all of this gear are in the description, and they are affiliates, so if you decide to use them, I'll get a tiny kickback, which will help me make more cool videos like this. Now, with that out of the way, onto the mod. First, I modified the head unit with a custom LED. This was a super duper easy mod, as the head unit for this kit is quite spacious. You can check out my live stream from May 2nd if you want a full rundown, but basically this required no modification to the kit. Just some blue tack on the inside to hold the LED in place, and just one LED was sufficient. I tried using red LEDs first, but unfortunately the effect parts, including the eyes on this kit, are light blue color, so they don't pipe red light at all. Green or blue LEDs work much better, and I went with green. Running the wire at the back is super easy thanks to the metal tubes of the inner frame. And then we move on to the backpack unit. This bad boy is quite spacious on the inside, which allows us to run the LED wire with minimal but still some modifications. So let's take it apart. As you can see, the bluish effect part is attached to the black armor piece, and that creates a little cavity to slot the LED into. Also, please don't forget to chrome the back of the inner frame here, as that helps to spread out the LED light effect quite a bit more. But no worries, if you skip the chrome, the light effect will still be visible. Then we trim one of the armor stands to run the wire into the inner frame, and you can open up a tiny hole here by either using a hobby knife or a pin vise. The wire then comes out here towards the backpack to the main body attachment part, where you need to cut out a little divot into the white armor plate. As you can see, with just one LED per backpack side and a little bit of a chrome marker application, the part now has this very nice green effect. Then moving on to the back waist parts. Those have the same bluish effect parts and quite a bit of room on the inside. Modifications are even smaller here, and there is no need for blue tack. Basically, we cut out a small divot into the white plastic so that the LED can shine at the effect part. Then we also cut out a small divot in the inner frame to let the wire out. We run the LED wire to the attachment peg and wrap it around a few times the peg itself to fix it in place. Easy as pie. Carefully reassemble the part and boom, we got a neat little effect going on at the back of the waist. And I did not chrome the back plates of these parts, yet the effect is still pretty decent. Finally, we got the arms. Now, these are just a little bit trickier than the other modifications, but not to worry, I got you covered. First, take the forearms apart down all the way to the inner frame. As you can see, the very same effect parts have little pegs that slides into the standoffs. But the effect part also snaps quite securely into the armor. So what we need to do is create a little bit of space to place our 0603 green LED behind the effect parts. First, we shorten the effect parts on peg. Then we drill a tiny hole into the inner frame standoff to pass through the wires, and we also butcher the standoff itself just a little bit to create some room for the LED itself. Running the wire is quite easy, and I needed no blue tack to hold it in place, thanks to the slot that we created by partially cutting the stand off. To better hide the wires, I chose to run them through the back of the elbow piston slot, where the joint is pre-assembled. There is very little room there, and it was quite annoying to do so, but I think the final result is well worth it. Then all these wires lead into the space around the lower back, where I spliced together all positive and negative leads separately. I also used my 3mm spiral black wire wrapper to hide those larger wire runs. Once spliced and soldered together into two main leads, I connected my generic 2-pin wire at about 2 feet of it and added a 100 ohm resistor to the other end of it on the positive wire side, finishing it all off with a quick connect connector. And of course I used more of the 3mm wire wrapper to make the main power supply wire run look a little bit prettier. And this is the final result. I know it's a little messy and not perfect, but this mod cost me maybe 10 or 15 bucks in parts and a few hours. I also can tell you that modifying the kit and installing the LEDs is much easier and way more fun than all subsequent wire soldering and management. That stuff can be quite arduous. However, if you use better or more expensive LEDs and wires, like the ones from Evan Designs for example, you might have a considerably easier time, or if you simply don't care about wire management as well. But those seem to be a little more expensive, and I just bought a bunch of them for future testing, and their LEDs seem to be even smaller and have much thinner and easier to manage wires. As you probably have noticed, my off-the-shelf LEDs that I used for this mod have somewhat thick and rigid wires that need a lot of persuasion to tidy up. But it's all good learning experience at the end of the day, and they get the job done. And as for the lifespan of this solution, I've been doing this mod since my Hemoxion Thor build that I did back in December 2023. The kit has a single warm white LED and is on for about 6 hours every day. So about 2.5 years daily for 6 hours, you can do the math. But so far, no dimming on that LED and no burnout yet, obviously. Just make sure to not forget to wire an appropriate resistor depending on your source voltage and LED requirements, and there are sources online to help you calculate what's needed. In all of my builds so far, I've used 100 ohm generic resistors and a pair of these USB-A power supplies. You can easily connect them to a smart plug to automate your on and offs for all kits. Of course, everything that I share in this video is for educational purposes only. If you decide to do any of these mods, you do them at your own risk. Be aware of fire hazards and, shorten the wires and stuff like that. So be extra careful, test over test, never leave it unattended and stuff like that. And that is about it for this short guide video. I truly hope that you found it useful. Stay tuned for the full review and build time-lapse videos for the Barbatos Lupus Flex. Remember, if you decide to shop for some third-party kits or figures, check out Gundam or ShowZ store and consider using reviewer code SKH. It really supports the channel more than you can imagine. Be sure to drop a like if you like this video and a comment if you really do. Subscribe for more cool content like this, and I live stream every Saturday, so hop on over and hang out. Also, all of my gear and tools are listed in the description of all of my videos. The links are affiliates, and every time you use them, you help me make more and even cooler videos. I also recently started a Facebook community page where I post high-res pictures of my builds and various other community updates. Check the link in the description and join it. I would love to see you all post your builds there. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.